First of all, it was a wonderful, thoughtful talk on a very, very pertinent topic that is a burning topic, a burning issue rather, that we are all facing today. This problem of the civilizational legacy of India. And many of us feel helpless. We want to do something about it, but we don't know what to do about it, how to go about it, because we have our constraints in every sphere, and that is something we all need to address, come together and do it. And she has given some insights into it. Of course, she first thought of talking on the subject of religion and gender, and that is equally pertinent. It has always been pertinent, not just today, but I think the most pertinent for the time now, the present time, is the civilizational legacy, which she has rightly addressed. And initially she was too humble to say that she doesn't have the necessary qualifications to give a talk on this subject. She is too humble to say that. Especially if we had the time to go through her CV, we would know that she has been utterly humble about it. And she has raised, a lot of questions. 4 important questions, 4 important aspects that she has been dealing with. I will not go into it because the first thing is the history and the negative perceptions of India and the world regarding our economic and social domains, and the cultural and linguistic divides, and the Orientalism and the challenges we face from Neo-Orientalism. These are the 4 questions she has been talking about, and Professor Clooney as well as Professor Paneerselvam have addressed these, responded to these things, so I would not go further into that. Some of the points that I would like to simply it was just an observation, nothing that I'm going to contest or anything. She mentioned about a divide, a huge divide, something like this, the great rift happening in Africa. And what I just read recently is that, yes, when the tectonic plate started shifting and we divided into from 3 to first it was Saptadvipa, they got together, and now we have the 5 continents. But now it seems there is the 8th continent which is still there deep under the sea. And they feel life could be, it can support life, but we don't know what kind of life. So these things that just because we don't know doesn't mean they don't exist. As much as the river Saraswati, we believe in it. Just because we don't see it, we don't dismiss that river Saraswati exists or it is dried. In the same manner, our cultural legacy also, there are so many things that remain hidden from our perception, but I think there is so much that we should go on unearthing about ourselves. And when we talk about history there, we are seeing these attempts, at least in our own state, where history is being erased. Just people think by erasing a surname, we can erase, the caste out of it. Examples I would give you, the Rangachari Street is now Ranga Street for a long time. Bhimanna Mudali Street is Bhimanna Street. If we say, just by, erasing these surnames as Chari or Mudali, are we really bringing in an inter-religious harmony? Have we broken down those caste divides? Is something we have to ask ourselves, because this caste divide is burning more than ever. It is, giving up so many, throwing up so many unpleasant experiences in our lives. And we don't need the symbolic ways of just, dropping our names. And for a long time, from my personal experience, for many years, till my 50s, I never used to declare that I was a Brahmin by birth. Because we were, in a way, culturally ostracized by the non-Brahmins, simply because of the language we spoke and our practices. It was very painful, but because we were living double lives, we children were living double lives everywhere. Externally, we had to behave like we were neutral, we belonged to no caste. But once you return home, you had to live by certain rules and regulations, traditions, those practices. It was quite a challenge to live a double life till I decided, no, I need not give up my identity, like Swamiji's word of distinct identity, because it carries with it a certain legacy, a cultural legacy. And it was now upon me to carry it forward, because I was not able to pass it over to my children. Simply because I was playing the double game. I was not able to pass it over to my children. And to tell you all a little about what that legacy which I was leaving behind, which my parents didn't tell me for a long time, but I came to know that I somehow, on my parents' side, I was in the Tupul line. Tupul line means Vedanta Deshika's line. And if I were in such a great lineage, I need not throw it away just like that. I need to get back to who I was, to that lineage that I belong to, and that is how I have to get back my history. So his history it will be very painful from what we see, what happened to us in the past or what we did to others in the past. Let us not feel that we have been saints all the time. We are no saints. We never can be one, because we are simple human beings. And that being so, we are given to so many prejudices, the likes, dislikes, our preferences, and that when it goes on, naturally there are going to be tensions in our interactions with the other, whether it is our own family members or whether it is an outsider. But how do we deal with it is what is important, and there we need not give up our own identity, but what is important is to recognize the other person's right to have his identity, his or her identity respected, and continue with a harmonious interaction with the other. And that is what I learned. And again, another anecdote I would like to say, Professor Indra talked about the role of traders in patronizing temples. From my husband's side, I hail from a place called Damal village, which is near Balachettichatram, near Kanjipuram. And from what Chitra Madhavan writes, the Damal Chettis were the ones who even donated this Georgetown area to form this Chennai. So, there is another legacy that I should think about. Yes, I belong to that place which has really been instrumental in forming such a huge city that today it is recognized all over the world as Chennai city. But the beginnings were from one Damal village, is what I should be proud about, is something which I learnt much later from Chitra Madhavan's writing. I didn't know about it earlier. And she says, as much as this thing about Nandivarman II's mother being a Cambodian, and that have a sculpture there in Vaikuntha Perumal temple, Chitra Madhavan writes that this Damal, giving the endowment of this place, this Georgetown, to the then British government, is inscribed in one of the temples. I don't know whether it is the Vaikuntha Perumal temple or the other, what is the other one, the Ulakalanda Perumal. Either one of those two temples. She says that the inscription is there. So, we have such legacies which we need to find about ourselves first. And only then we'll be able to pass it on to the others. And the third thing is she brought about the divide and rule by the colonial readers, and it was fostered by the Christian missionaries. Please, I would like to say that for most part of my education, I got educated in Christian institutions, and my moral standards or whatever are the values that I developed were inculcated in those Christian institutions, but they never once tainted my affiliation to my own religion, my own family practices. It has helped me grow, and later on I studied in a Muslim institution also, and that has helped in a lot of camaraderie in understanding what the other is and understanding their traditions as much as they are interested in knowing about us. And if we talk about that, yes, we have to appreciate the Christian missionaries for having brought in education and medical facilities, help into our people. We cannot just wish away that didn't happen. Whatever be their other agenda is not something I would like to get into. But till today, if I'm standing here and talking to you, this confidence was given to me by one Catholic priest, Professor Clooney. So, and yes, we have problems with these Western writers of their wrong understanding or a perverse understanding of what we mean with our Puranas, with our scriptures. And there have been criticisms against Sheldon Pollock and Wendy Doniger. So many people have really, we really want to dismiss all this writing. And there I would say yes, it is because they are not from our inside. They are not insiders to know what it is. But having said that, are the insiders themselves knowledgeable enough to talk about our own culture, our own civilization, our own practices? We ourselves are ignorant in many spheres. We have to strengthen ourselves. And naturally, we have to be a little sympathetic towards those people who do not, those outsiders who do not understand us. And for that sake alone, we let us empower ourselves with the knowledge of what we are, what we have, and so that we are able to contest them, not necessarily contest them, but to educate them on what the right way of looking at our Puranas or our scriptures or our texts are about. So only then we'll be having a healthy and a very, very beneficial outcome out of such exercises, rather than simply criticizing and getting it done with. And of course, we are going to face this problem of the leftist and the so-called intellectuals always putting us down in every sphere. But like I said, we have to remain forearmed with enough data from our own side. Otherwise, this data mining is going to go on, spoiling our name all the time, because there is always, if you see one scholar coming up, there is always another one who wants to ridicule this person, ridicule this scholar for lack of knowledge or for perverse knowledge or anything. The best thing is, first let us understand, understand our own selves, what we have. Let us nurture it so that we are able to take it along to the rest of the world. And I would like to finish with the same thing which C.T. Indra writes. I evolved as a human being and as a professional and could constitute a nucleus of interrelations, and I found that there were cherished moments of mutual enlightenment and an understanding of the deeper values of life, which has lasted between me and those whom I interacted with till today, despite holding varying positions on many matters. And I think she succinctly puts what we all need to be. Thank you very much. I thank Swamiji for this opportunity. I thank you all for this patient listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Radha Ragunathan, for your response. I'll now invite Mr. Sri Kumar Raman to share the closing remarks on the talks by the various speakers.